People think you only end up behind a deli counter when you've run out of options. That's not always true. I worked the counter at Lyman's Grocery in East Grafton, Vermont, a small town nestled between leaf-blanketed hills and silence. My plan was always temporary. Save money, knock out a few online classes, and move to Boston for grad school. But plans stretch. Rent was cheap. My mom's old Subaru still ran. And the deli, well, it paid. Lyman's was one of those old places with crooked floor tiles and hand-lettered meat special signs in red marker. Dana, the store manager, was in her mid-40s, no nonsense, and ran the place like a ship with a small crew. She liked me, said I was reliable, showed up on time, didn't steal, didn't complain. That was the bar. I liked the deli because it gave me structure, slicing turkey, wrapping cold cuts, arranging cheddar cubes for the after-church crowd. I liked the quiet. No one asked much of you here. You smiled, bagged the meat, and said, "Have a good one." That's all people wanted, until she started showing up. The first time I barely noticed her. Small, maybe 16 or 17, pale, long dark hair, dull brown jacket, cracked phone in one hand. She hovered near the end of the line but never bought anything, just lingered. I figured maybe she was waiting for someone. A mom, maybe. But after 5 minutes, she stepped over to the trash can behind my station and started rifling through the coupons we'd tossed. Old, crumpled ones we didn't even scan anymore. "Hey, you okay?" I asked, wiping my hands on a towel. She looked up, calm, no embarrassment. "Thanks, Jason," she said. Just like that. Like we knew each other. I never told her my name. She left without another word, coupons clutched in her hand like they were worth something. I told Dana later. She laughed a little, said, "If she starts paying for her ham, then we'll worry." But the girl kept coming, almost every day. You can feel when something's off. It doesn't hit you like thunder. It creeps in, quiet, deliberate, like fog rolling in low over the parking lot at 7 a.m. That's how it felt with her. Creeping. At first, she'd just hover, close enough to be noticed but not close enough to confront. Then, little by little, she'd say things. "You look tired today," she said once, voice low and even. "Working too much?" I nodded out of reflex, not sure how to respond. Then one day, "Is your girlfriend okay with you working so much?" I blinked. "I don't have a girlfriend." She smiled, not coy, just satisfied, like she'd confirmed something. Another time, "What classes are you taking?" "Just gen eds," I muttered. "English comp, statistics." "You're smart, right?" I looked up from where I was slicing provolone. "I guess. Why?" She tilted her head. "I like smart people." Dana started noticing. One afternoon I came back from my 10-minute break to see them talking near the registers. Dana was standing firm, arms crossed. The girl had that same faint smile, like she was enjoying a joke no one else got. Then I heard her say, clear as day, "If you make me leave, I'll report Jason. He's been giving me expired coupons. That's stealing, right?" My stomach dropped. I hadn't. I swear I hadn't given her anything. But the look Dana gave me, not angry, just confused, like, what the hell's going on here? After that, I stopped throwing anything away without checking it, started bagging the coupons and tossing them in the outside dumpster instead. One night after close, I climbed into the bin behind the store. I was elbow deep in spoiled lettuce and melted ice cream cartons, digging through bags like a raccoon, just to make sure she hadn't taken anything with my name on it. I didn't find anything useful, but when I turned around, headlights flashed in the parking lot. She was sitting across the street, on the curb, watching. She waved. The next morning, I asked Dana if I could switch to produce. "Why?" she asked, eyeing me over her coffee. "Just tired of the deli. Want something quieter, behind the scenes." She stared at me for a moment. I knew she knew something was up, but she didn't press. "Fine. Talk to Glenn. You start tomorrow." Produce was early, quiet. It suited me. I came in before sunrise, stacked lettuce, trimmed cauliflower, arranged avocados like puzzle pieces. I didn't have to see her anymore, or anyone. For 2 weeks it was peaceful. I started sleeping better, even caught up on schoolwork. Dana waved when she saw me, but she didn't ask questions. Maybe she thought whatever weird thing was happening had passed. Then one Thursday morning I came in early, like usual. Clocked in, made coffee. Stepped into the employee break room. There was a card on the chair. No envelope. White, plain. Pink sticker on the front. Keep me. I stared at it. Something about the neatness, the placement. It was surgical. I opened it. Inside, written in perfect cursive, Jason Theodore Kelly. Nothing else. No return address. No smudges. Just my full name in a stranger's hand. I didn't sit down. I didn't drink my coffee. I walked out and called in sick from the parking lot. That night I didn't sleep. Neither did I the next. Every creak in my apartment made me jump. Every shadow felt loaded. I knew it wasn't over. By Friday afternoon I turned in my badge. Told Dana I was going back home for a bit. That I needed to take care of family stuff. She looked like she wanted to ask, but she didn't. She just nodded and said, "Take care of yourself, kid." I don't know what happened to the girl. Whether she kept showing up, whether she moved on, whether Dana ever reported her. I blocked it all, deleted my work email, switched numbers, stopped checking social media. I never touched another register. When I finally moved to Boston that spring, I found myself checking locks twice, avoiding eye contact in quiet corners, skipping every single grocery store with handwritten signs. I still don't know why she did it, what she wanted. Maybe attention, maybe control, maybe just the thrill of knowing she could get inside your head and live there rent-free. But that card, that damn card, it was the way it said "keep me" that scared me the most, because she knew I would. Looking back now, a few years removed, I've thought about how it all unraveled. The truth is, it didn't start with a big moment. It started with silence, with letting something uncomfortable slide because you didn't want to make a scene, with brushing off that instinct when your gut whispered, "Something's off." I wasn't harmed, not physically, but mentally, emotionally. I let someone slip inside my routines, my space, because I kept waiting for it to make sense. I kept being polite. Sometimes being kind means saying no. Sometimes safety means making noise, even when you don't want to. And sometimes the scariest thing isn't what people do to you. It's what they make you start doing to yourself. People talk about starting over like it's a clean slate. But when I started over, it felt more like a slow bleed. Quiet, cold, and barely visible to anyone else. After my divorce, I moved into a one-bedroom apartment near the bus line in Billings. Nothing fancy, just a place I could afford on my own. My marketing job paid enough to keep the lights on, but not enough to breathe. So I picked up a second job, part-time, evenings, manning the free sample cart at Kenner's Market near downtown. The gig wasn't complicated. I showed up around 6, clocked in, set out whatever they were pushing that week, mini quiches, smoked Gouda on crackers, holiday cookies, and smiled at anyone who slowed down. Not many did. Most customers were too tired to talk. They walked past me like I was furniture. Maybe that's why I liked it. I didn't have to perform. I didn't have to be anything but present. Until the man started coming in. It was slow at first. He'd show up around 9:30, like clockwork. Always walked past the bakery aisle, paused near the table, sometimes looked at the food but never touched it, just hovered. He'd nod, sometimes smile. I assumed he was a regular, someone who liked the routine of wandering a grocery store before close. "Evenin'," he'd say in that casual, just friendly enough way. "Slow night?" "Always is," I'd say, half smiling. It became a rhythm. Not quite conversation, but close. Then one night he looked at me and said, "You always wear black on Mondays. Grieving something?" I let out an awkward laugh. "Guess I just like the color." He nodded slowly. "Looks good, but sad." That was the first moment I felt something pull tight in my chest. It wasn't the words, it was the way he said them. Like he knew me, like he'd been paying attention. Too much attention. I used to pride myself on not being noticed. Not in a sad way, just in a quiet way. I wasn't flashy, I didn't take up space. Even as a kid, I kept to the edges. My ex-husband called it practical, like it was a compliment. It wasn't. That's what made his comments feel heavier. This stranger, this man I'd never spoken to beyond a few pleasantries, started weaving details into his words like he'd known me for years. One night, as I restocked the cracker tray, he leaned slightly closer. "Your ex still work downtown?" I froze. What? He shrugged. "I thought you mentioned it once." I didn't. He just smiled, that slow, steady kind of smile that made my stomach twist. Small town, people talk. Except no one talked to me, not at work, not at home, and certainly not at the sample table. Another night I'd changed up my lipstick, some berry shade I'd grabbed on clearance. He showed up, same time, stood a few feet back as usual. "Doesn't match your eyes," he said. "You look tired." I stopped responding after that. No more small talk, just polite nods or nothing at all. Eventually, I asked the store manager if I could be moved to a different department. She said no, samples were short-staffed, so I started shifting my schedule, pushing for more stockroom time, bagging bread, rearranging cereal, anything to avoid standing still. But it didn't matter. He found me anyway. One night I skipped the sample cart entirely, asked to stock cereal instead. The manager shrugged, too distracted to care. At 10:03 p.m. I left the building through the side door, tired but relieved. I stepped into the parking lot and froze. He was standing across the street, arms full. In one hand, the tray of mini quiches I'd prepared yesterday, half eaten. In the other, a crumpled napkin with black ink on it, my handwriting. I recognized it from the cart signage. I'd written "contains dairy plus nuts" in careful lettering the day before. He tilted his head. "Thought you might be testing the neighborhood." I didn't say a word, just got in the car and locked the doors with shaky hands. My heart slammed against my ribs. I could still see him in the rearview mirror as I drove off, standing under the broken street lamp, calm as ever. I didn't sleep that night, kept checking the windows, listening for footsteps. I debated calling the police, but what would I say? He hadn't touched me. He hadn't technically done anything. And yet, I felt violated in a way I couldn't explain. The next morning, I walked outside and stopped dead. My car's rear window was shattered. Shards of glass glittered like ice across the back seat. But what made my stomach lurch wasn't the damage, it was what was inside. On the passenger seat, perfectly placed, was one of those little plastic toothpicks we used for the mini quiches. Still had food on it, dry now. Next to it, taped carefully to the dashboard, was the label from my sample pitcher. The one I'd written, "Try a taste. Emma, on 2 days ago." He hadn't just taken food, he'd taken me. My words, my name, my space. I stood there for what felt like hours. Didn't go to work, didn't go back inside. I drove straight to my sister's house 3 hours away, barely blinking the whole ride. I left everything behind. The job, the apartment, my coffee mug still in the dish rack. My sister didn't ask questions, she just made tea. It's been months now. I sleep with my phone beside the bed and a bat near the door. I got a new job, remote, safe, unremarkable. I live with my sister while I figure things out. I told her most of it. Not all. Some things still sit like lead in my chest. But the weirdest part? I still can't walk past a bakery without glancing at the sample table. Even when I'm sure I'm safe. Even when I know I'm hours from Billings. I'll see a tray of cheese cubes or tiny cookies and my eyes will flick to the edge of the display, searching. Just to make sure no one's watching. Some people talk about fear like it's a dramatic thing. A scream, a chase, a bang. But fear can be quiet too. It can creep in slowly, disguised as politeness, familiarity, routine. This story taught me that you don't need to justify your discomfort. When something feels wrong, it is. You don't owe anyone your time, your smile, or your silence. Your boundaries don't need to be earned. They just need to be respected. And if someone ignores that, walk away. No explanation, no permission. Just go. You ever take a job just because you need to feel useful again? That's what Miller's Market was for me. Grocery stocking at night, quiet work, no sirens, no blood. After 4 years as an EMT and one call that still wakes me up some nights, this was the only thing I could do without flinching. Miller's Creek isn't on most maps. Town's got maybe 1,000 people if you count the dogs. We've got a Dollar General, 2 gas stations, a diner that still uses paper menus, and Miller's Market, the only 24-hour grocery store for 50 miles. Hunters, truckers, shift workers, they all end up here eventually. I worked the 11 to 7 shift. No customers, no noise, just boxes, pallets, and fluorescent lights. The night it happened, I was mid-shift, breaking down dairy pallets when Doris, our overnight cashier, called back on the intercom. Her voice always had this rasp, like she smoked through a wind tunnel. "Jamie, you got 2 online orders. Weird one here, same list, 2 addresses. You know where Briar Hollow Lane is?" I paused. "Briar what?" "Exactly," she muttered. "GPS has it, though." I pulled up the system. Sure enough, 2 identical orders. Milk, bread, canned peaches. One was for Mrs. Wilkins, who always tips in quarters and asks about your mother. The other, Briar Hollow Lane. It pinged just past the edge of town. No house number, just a pin on the map and a contact number that didn't match any regulars. I asked Doris if we'd seen it before. "Nope," she said. "Want to cancel it?" I thought about it, but it was just a bag of groceries and a short drive, and money was tight. So I loaded both into the back of my Corolla and headed out. Mrs. Wilkins met me at the door in her housecoat. "Jamie," she said, glancing at the second bag, "you be careful where you go tonight." "What do you mean?" She stepped out on the porch, her face half in shadow. "There are parts of these woods that ain't been friendly since before I was born. That road, you sure it exists?" "I'll be in and out," I said, smiling. But she didn't. As I drove off, I watched her in the mirror. She stayed out on her porch long after I turned the corner. The road to Briar Hollow wasn't marked, no mailbox, no streetlight. Just a break in the trees with a sagging plywood sign leaned against a rock. Road closed, private property. But the GPS said I was on track. And the customer had called earlier, saying in a tired voice, "Yeah, just ignore the sign. It's just old. Keep driving. We're back a ways." I could have turned around. Maybe I should have. But I didn't. The road turned to gravel, then dirt. Trees got closer. Phone signal died. It felt like the kind of place you end up when your GPS gets hacked or your bad choices catch up to you. About a half-mile in, I saw a house. Small, single story, no cars. One porch light glowing yellow like a bug zapper. There was someone on the porch, just standing, arms crossed, watching. I got out, groceries in hand, and said, "Delivery from Miller's Market." My voice sounded too loud. The person didn't respond, just watched. I walked to the edge of the porch, set the bag down. Milk, bread, peaches, still no movement, no greeting, no thank you. The screen door didn't creak. The house felt empty even with someone in it. I turned and walked back to my car. As I buckled in, headlights flared behind me. Only, they weren't headlights. Just the silver front grille of an old Chevy truck. No plates. Pulled up so close I could see the rust peeling on the bumper. I shifted into gear, tried to leave. The truck followed, fast. I took the first bend too sharp. My tires caught gravel. My back end skidded. Then, BAM. They hit me. Hard enough to jolt my head off the headrest. I saw 3 figures get out, all men, hoods up, walking like they had time. One of them held something up. You forgot the peaches, he said. But I hadn't. I ran. Left the car, left the groceries. I didn't even think to grab my phone. The woods were thick, wet leaves, loose ground, branches catching my jacket. I kept hearing footsteps behind me, steady, measured, not running, just keeping pace. I tripped once, rolled down a slope, got up, scraped and gasping. I found a road eventually, not the same one I came in on, but close enough. It took an hour to walk back to town. I reached Miller's Market around dawn, bleeding and shaking. Doris was still there, smoking out back. "What the hell happened to you?" she said. "Call the cops," I panted. "Now." 2 deputies showed up an hour later. Young guys, looked tired. I told them everything, every detail. They looked up Briar Hollow Lane. Nothing. I showed them the app. The second delivery was gone. Not in the logs. Not in my phone's delivery history. "I'm telling you the house was there," I insisted. They nodded, but I saw it in their faces. They didn't believe me. Just another burnt-out night worker with a story that didn't add up. Later that morning, when I went to get my backpack from the employee lockers, I found a can of peaches sitting inside. Same brand, lid slightly peeled. The top of the fruit was black, wet, smelled off. Nobody admitted to putting it there. I kept coming into work, but I wasn't sleeping right. Every night, just after 3 in the morning, the store phone rang. Static, then a voice. "You owe us a delivery." I stopped answering after the 3rd time. Doris said I looked like hell. I didn't argue. One night, I caught a glimpse of the truck, parked across the lot, just sitting there with its engine off. I went to the manager, asked if he'd seen it. He told me to stop bringing personal drama to work. The next morning, a second can of peaches was in my locker. This one had a dent, and something inside it shifted when I picked it up. I gave notice that same day. No fanfare, no goodbye cake. I left Miller's Creek 2 days later, packed my life into the Corolla, duct-taped the bumper, and hit the highway before sunrise. I wasn't scared anymore. I was just done. As I passed the old turnoff for Briar Hollow, I slowed. There was no barricade this time, no sign, just a paper grocery bag sitting neatly at the edge of the road. I didn't stop, didn't even look inside, but I saw the label, peaches. Some dangers don't come from monsters or ghosts. They come from people, from systems that don't believe you, from routines that trap you, from the unspoken spaces between normal and wrong. And sometimes, when something doesn't feel right, it's because it isn't. You don't owe anyone a second delivery. There wasn't anything unusual about that day. It was mid-March, cold but not brutal. You could smell wet sidewalk and leftover snow in the air. My mom had just come off a 12-hour shift at the hospital and handed me a crumpled 20 with a short list. Pasta, marinara, a loaf of the wheat bread with the seeds on top. "I'd go," she said, already untying her nursing shoes. "But if I sit down, I won't get back up." I didn't mind. I liked the walk. Our house was 10 minutes from Sunmart. I threw on my hoodie, slipped in my earbuds, and headed out. Typical after-school routine. I've always been kind of quiet. Not in a moody, mysterious way. More like invisible. At school, I'm the kid who finishes his math packet early and eats lunch in the library. It's not that I don't like people. I just don't like noise. When I got to the store, it was busier than usual. I forgot that school had just let out. Parents with kids, half the town crowding the produce section. I kept my head down, pulled my hoodie strings tighter, and ducked into aisle 5 for pasta. That's where it started. At first, I didn't really notice her. She was just another shopper. A woman in her 40s, maybe older. Big scarf wrapped around her neck even though it wasn't cold inside. Giant purse hanging off one shoulder. She stood next to me in front of the pasta for too long, like she wasn't really looking at anything. I took a step left. So did she. I grabbed the spaghetti. She adjusted her scarf. I figured maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe I was being weird. So I moved on. Bread was next. I crossed over to aisle 3. grabbed the seeded loaf Mom liked, checked the date, dropped it in the basket. She was there again. She didn't take anything off the shelf, didn't even look at the bread. She was just there. Same scarf, same bag, same fake scanning of the shelves. Now my heart was starting to beat a little harder. Not panic, not yet, but that gut feeling when something doesn't line up. I glanced over my shoulder. She wasn't even trying to act casual anymore. Just standing. I walked faster. Dairy section. I didn't even need anything there. Just wanted to see if she'd follow. She did, and this time, closer. I ducked around the yogurt coolers, pretended to check my phone. She passed by, pretending to search for something on a lower shelf. I caught a glimpse of her face, smiling, not in a friendly way. It was the kind of smile someone practices in the mirror. Now I was scared, not full-on terrified, but rattled. I didn't know what to do. I'm 15. I've never had a reason not to feel safe in a grocery store. I thought maybe I was just being paranoid, that maybe she was one of those weird but harmless people, the kind who live alone and talk too loud to cashiers. So I got in line to check out, and that's when it got worse. The line was long. I had my earbuds out now, trying to stay alert. I kept checking the end of the aisle, hoping she was gone. She wasn't. I felt a hand on my shoulder, light but firm. I turned. It was her. "Sweetie," she said, smiling at the cashier. "There you are. He's been missing all week. I'm his aunt." Thank God, I blinked. The cashier paused with his hands on the scanner. Is that true?" I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. My voice cracked. "I don't know her." Her hand stayed on my shoulder. "He gets like this when he's scared," she said smoothly. "Don't you, honey?" Something in me broke loose. "I don't know her," I said louder. "I came here by myself. She's following me." Now everyone was staring. The guy behind me in line, a woman with a toddler. Even the assistant manager stepped out of his little kiosk. "We're gonna need to see some ID," the manager said. "From both of you." Her smile froze. She opened her mouth, closed it, then looked around like she just realized people were watching. Then she stepped back. "This is a misunderstanding," she muttered. "He's confused." And just like that, she walked out. No groceries, no argument. Just gone. I don't remember paying or walking out. I just remember sitting on a bench near the carts, shaking. My palms were sweaty. I must have called Mom because I don't remember dialing her number. She showed up in scrubs, her hair still tied back, eyes wide with panic. "Are you okay?" I nodded, sort of. I wasn't sure. We filed a report that night, told the police everything. I described her the best I could. Scarf, purse, maybe 5'6". They said they'd check the cameras. Said I did the right thing. Sunmart's manager added new cameras a few weeks later. The cashier who helped me gave me a fist bump the next time I saw him. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone had picked me, watched me, thought I was easy to take. Even now I catch myself scanning crowds, looking over my shoulder. Once, walking home from school, I swear I saw her again, in a silver car at the light. Just her shape, her scarf. I don't walk to the store anymore. It's been 7 months. I still don't go anywhere alone if I don't have to. If I do, I keep my phone in my hand. I've started noticing everything now. License plates, weird shoes, the people who don't blink enough. I hate that it changed me. But maybe it needed to. People like to think scary things only happen in alleyways or big cities or late at night. But sometimes it's aisle 5. Sometimes it's the middle of the afternoon. Sometimes it's someone who looks normal but doesn't act right. I learned something that day, and not just about danger. I learned that speaking up, even when your voice shakes, can save you. That silence doesn't protect you, and that sometimes looking scared is the bravest thing you can do. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. No matter how polite someone seems or how normal the place looks. Never be afraid to make noise, ask for help, or call someone out. You don't owe strangers your silence. You don't owe anyone your comfort. Being alert isn't being paranoid, it's being smart, and your safety is more important than anyone's opinion of you. When I was a child in Honduras, my abuela taught me that silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the space where thoughts rest. Now, 5 years later, I find comfort in the hushed hum of Harvest Max's overnight shifts here on the outskirts of Des Moines, Iowa. I came here because opportunity doesn't wait for sunrise. I arrived in Des Moines at 23 with little more than a heart full of hope and a pocket full of dollars for immigration papers. I worked the night stock shifts, unloading pallets of cornflakes, stacking canned beans, lining cereal boxes in aisle 3. The store is dim, lit with cold fluorescent lights, and the quiet hum of refrigeration boxes is like a lullaby to someone chasing dreams. My plan is simple: work, save, send money to my family, secure a lawyer, and bring my sister here. She's still back home, waiting. Most nights I keep my head down. I smile when someone greets me. Coworkers call me Luis the Calm. I'm reliable, I'm kind, but I'm also quiet. Night shifts aren't social, but people appreciate a steady presence when the store goes silent at 2 in the morning. That's when he showed up. At first I thought nothing of him. Hoodie up, scruffy beard, walks slowly near aisle 11. Then one night, he stopped me. "Hey man, you seem chill. Can I ask you something?" I nodded, wiped my hands. "I've got problems," he said. "Marriage falling apart. I've got a newborn crying nonstop. You sound like someone who listens." In my mother tongue, we say a person is buena gente, good people. That's me. I offer advice. Try feeding her on one side, change the diaper before it gets too late. He just nodded. A few nights later he was back, same hoodie, same time, same aisle. He talked more, about the marriage, about lost hope, about guilt, and I listened. Still kind, always, but kindness has a cost. I never meant to be more than a friendly ear, but friendliness can be misread as invitation. The second week, he'd wait by aisle 11 at 2:10 a.m., even when I went to restock sugar packets or vacuum near checkout. I noticed him staring. His eyes held too much attention, like he measured me. My calm began to crack. One night I asked him, "You okay?" As I passed him stacking pasta boxes, he paused, looked at me like a child seeing a parent again. I couldn't sleep. Thought maybe you couldn't either. A chill crawled up my spine. I kept walking, but his words lingered. They felt personal. That next night, he stayed near the front doors long after my shift ended. I waited by the dumpster, clocked out, backpack on my shoulders. I tried not to glance back. What I didn't expect was a knock at my apartment door at past 3 a.m. I wasn't expecting anyone. Yet there he stood, holding a six-pack, voice low. "Hey, thought maybe, I don't know, you wanted company?" I didn't open the door, not even a crack. He stayed on the porch, quiet, listening to the hum of my apartment lights. I went to bed with the lights on. The next morning, under harsh daylight, it felt absurd. But in the dark, I felt unsafe. I told my boss. I explained the knock. I showed him his texts. "Can we talk?" "Miss our chats at 2. My boss nodded but shrugged when I said I felt uneasy. "If he didn't threaten you, there's not much we can do," he said. His words weighed on me. The store had cameras, few but usable. They said they'd review footage. I didn't sleep well. I blocked the number he'd texted me using my personal. They weren't store issue. That night I parked under a street lamp. When I returned, a sticky note was on my windshield. Just one sentence in black print. "People like you owe people like me. You don't just walk away." Fear settled in my chest like bricks. I felt violated. How dare someone think he could insert himself into my life? I switched my shifts today, then transferred to another store a few towns over. My co-workers, who once greeted me kindly, now glanced around when I spoke. Whispers about aisle 11 and midnight knocks. I wanted to disappear. In the new store, I'm labeled quiet again. This time it's by my own choice. I don't talk about sports. I don't make small talk at the cooler. I keep my head down, but also my guard up. I stock shelves, clock in, clock out. The lights are bright and people are there at decent hours. But loneliness follows me like a shadow. I'm saving still. My sister's paperwork waits on a desk at home. I send money every week. Sleep doesn't come easy, though. In the locker room, someone jokes, "Night shifts made you talk less, Luis." I laugh, but it's automatic. I don't ask for those shifts back. Every time someone calls me a good listener, I catch my breath. I think of him standing on my porch at dawn, of his eyes, of the note on my windshield. I still believe in kindness. I still believe in listening. But I learned boundaries must come first. Ow. I weigh my words. I smile, but I don't share contact numbers unless necessary. I don't get pulled into midnight conversations. I do my job, clock out, go home. My dreams are still the same. Immigration lawyer, sister by my side, new apartment, light without shadows. But I saved myself first. I keep a lamp by my bed. I keep my phone charged next to it. And if someone knocks, I don't open the door. I call first. Generosity isn't weakness. Friendliness isn't consent. Kindness has limits, and those limits are yours to set. You can offer your presence without giving your life away. You can help, listen, advise, but never lose sight of who you are and what keeps you safe. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the space where respect lives. I never liked chaos. Since I was a kid, I've clung to structure like a lifeline. Lists, calendars, alarms, they made the world make sense. My therapist used to call it coping through control. I just called it staying sane. After my parents split when I was 16, I learned not to rely on people, just systems. You can schedule a system. You can predict it. So even in my 20s, I stuck to a rhythm. I was working the self-checkout station at Greenway Market, one of those clean, overlit suburban chains near Seattle, while finishing my final year of online college. Marketing degree, all remote. I liked it that way. Every Friday after my shift, I did the same thing. Walk the store, buy ingredients for my comfort meal, spaghetti, basil, goat cheese, 1 bottle of citrus sparkling water, always in that order. Always through the third self-checkout on the left. It sounds small, maybe even strange, but it grounded me. That's when he started showing up. First time I noticed him, it was nothing. Guy in a gray hoodie, ball cap pulled low, mid-30s, average build, nondescript in every way. Seattle's full of guys like that. But after the second Friday, and then the third, I realized something. He always finished scanning right behind me, same checkout lane, just seconds after. At first, I told myself it was coincidence. Then I noticed his cart, spaghetti, basil, goat cheese, citrus sparkling water. Exactly the same. Week 4, I deliberately changed my list. Swapped the pasta for tofu, basil for ginger, goat cheese for miso. I lingered in different aisles, pretending to debate products I didn't even want. He still ended up behind me, still in the same checkout lane. And his cart? Identical to mine. I didn't say anything. I just watched. He scanned like he was following instructions. Eyes on my screen subtly, then flicking down to his own phone like he was comparing notes. When I walked out that day, I felt a prickle under my jacket, like eyes on my back. I told my coworker Sarah later that night, just in passing. She laughed. Maybe he's into you. But it didn't feel romantic. It felt rehearsed, like he was trying to become me. The next week, he mouthed the words at the checkout screen. Got it all. I stared at him. He smiled. Not wide, but like he'd just won something. I asked the manager if I could review the security footage. I didn't say why, just blamed it on a glitchy register. What I saw chilled me. Every Friday, After I finished my transaction and walked away, he'd come back to my station, stand there, pull up the past transaction history, scroll, take a picture, then walk off. Every single week. I felt violated, but when I told security, they shrugged. Creepy, sure, but no direct threats. We'll keep an eye out. An eye out. Like that meant anything. Then came the texts. I made the sauce just like you. It's better with goat cheese, you're right. Friday's coming. What's next? I blocked the number. Next week I got a new message. Same tone, different number, and attached was a photo. It was me, taken from behind, in the store. That day, the message just said, "Perfect order again." I stopped sleeping. I started scanning over my shoulder during every shift. I changed my schedule, begged to cover stock shifts or do night inventory, anything to stay away from checkout. But he kept coming, and I kept unraveling. I quit Greenway 2 weeks later, didn't even give 2 weeks notice. Just emailed the store lead with a vague excuse about family obligations. I picked up delivery gigs instead, grocery runs for strangers, food orders I didn't have to prepare or think about. It was safer, in theory, but even out on the road I felt watched. Any white sedan driving too slow behind me made my stomach twist. I stopped going to my usual grocery store, changed my route home, deleted every personal post online. I moved my comfort meal day to Wednesdays, changed ingredients, but I still bought them in the same order, without even realizing. Routine dies hard. The paranoia didn't. Months passed. I convinced myself it was over. Maybe he got bored. Maybe he found someone new to copy. I was starting to breathe again. Until one quiet Saturday morning, I found something under my apartment door. A single grocery receipt. Not mine, but it might as well have been. Same order I used to make. Spaghetti, basil, goat cheese, citrus sparkling water. Same timestamp I always had, 5:42 p.m., Friday. The address on the top? A Greenway across town. I moved again 2 weeks later. I don't shop at chains anymore. I use farmers markets, cash only, and I always check the mirror when I leave. Obsession wears many masks. Sometimes it mimics kindness, other times routine. What begins as coincidence can evolve into something invasive, even dangerous. Pay attention to patterns, not just people. Trust your instincts, even when no one else takes you seriously. Harvest Value Grocery was the kind of place that never slept. Its rows of fluorescent lights hummed all night long, buzzing over half-empty shelves, discount signs, and the occasional rotting apple someone forgot to toss. It's October 29th, 2014, just 3 days before Halloween. A thin chill crawls through the cold aisles, and the full moon slants light through the front windows onto the empty parking lot. I've clocked in at 2:13 a.m. My breath puffs out of my lungs in tight white bursts as I walk purposefully past the frozen meats, heading toward aisle 5, where cereal boxes wait to be faced. I moved here from Columbus after college, burdened with student loans that couldn't wait for a better job. This part-time shift, combined with my art class gig, just barely keeps me afloat. Tom Mercer, the assistant manager, is already there, leaning against the shelf with his back to me. He's the kind of guy who brags about seeing it all, and today he's found a pair of stale donuts in a corner with mold creeping in. "I clean up after ghosts," he jokes. I laugh softly and say, "At least we don't have pay ghosts yet." That's when it starts. The laugh. A low, wet chuckle drifting through the concrete echo of the store. I freeze, letting a box of fruity O's slip in my hand. Tom tenses. "Did you hear that?" The laugh comes again, louder, like something playing hide and seek with our minds. It's coming from aisle 7, canned goods. "Probably just old man Pritchard," Tom says, though the name lands wrong. "Night Stalker. Dude's weird but harmless. Except Pritchard hasn't worked here in 3 years. He moved out to Cleveland. Tom and I both know that. But the laughter keeps rolling through the overhead speakers and the hum of the freezers. I glance at Tom, unease knotting in the pit of my stomach. He shrugs, but his knuckles on the shelf are white. "How about we go check it out?" I say. Tom cracks his neck and pushes off. "Yeah, let's be the heroes tonight." We walk toward the darkened end of aisle 7, past rows of chipped cans. The laugh echoes again and dies. And in the pale light, we see a bean can rolling slowly along the metal shelf lip, as though nudged by invisible fingers. When Tom and I reach the end of aisle 7, the laughing stops, like someone simply turned off the stereo. My heart hammers, and I can feel Tom's tension beside me like sweat on his shirt back. He crouches and taps the bean can with his shoe. "Creepy," he mutters. We circle the aisle, flashlight beams swaying over labels. Empty spots pepper the shelves, but nothing else. No footprints, no sign of tampering, just that can. "All right," Tom says. He pulls out his phone. "I'm clocking in Pritchard anyway." He makes a joke, but neither of us really laughs. We pick up the pace toward the back, toward the freezer room. Walking down the service corridor, the hum of the giant freezers vibrates through the metal door. Tom turns the knob. The door swings open with a whoosh of cold air, more frigid than it should be. That's when I see it. A time card clipped to the punch machine. Pritchard's old badge photo stares back at me with dry eyes. It's being stamped as if it were booked for a midnight shift even tonight. The employee system logs show a new entry. 2 a.m., harvest value, Brentwood, Pritchard. Tom's face pales. That's impossible. I reach out and take the time card, cold as ice. Around me, metal racks of frozen dinners stand like soldiers at attention. Then I see it, hanging from a broken hook by the back locker room. A stained jacket, smelling faintly of spoiled milk and damp cardboard. The faint smell comes back now, making my nose crinkle. "Who the hell is doing this?" I whisper. Tom shakes his head, brushing past me. "Run it back. We call the cops after close." We hurry back to the front, adrenaline making my jacket feel too tight. Tom pushes his phone button to report it. The cops tell us they'll send someone at first light. No point waiting around at this hour. That night, we decide it's best to lock ourselves in the manager's office. We watch the monitors on grainy security cameras, aisle 7, aisle 11, the produce corner. Nothing moves, no shapes, no person. At 4 a.m., the laughter echoes again, so faint we almost can't hear it. But the sensors go off in aisle 7, red light flashing on the monitor. I press replay. The footage shows the aisle static, then the can, rolling, out of frame, but no one on camera. Tom snaps the footage off. "Fuck this," he says. We leave traces on the monitor for the cops. Then Tom goes to lock the door. The overhead lights flicker once, buzz, hum, pause, before steadying. We sit in silence until 5:45 a.m. Then the motion sensors keep tripping again. Aisle 7, aisle 7. The cops arrive at 6:15 a.m. We escort them through the store. They check freezers, count cans. They log that jacket and time card. They ask us questions. All day, the store smells like bleach and fear, masked with lemon air freshener. By noon, purchase orders pile in. Kids stream in next day, ready for Halloween deals. Tom and I stand in the empty aisle, glancing at cans that now face forward again. Fresh boxes. Aisle 7 is back to normal, or as normal as this place can be. But neither of us feels right. "How many more nights can we do this?" I ask. Tom gives a small, sad laugh. "Let's just finish the week." The days pass with nervous tension. Each night my stomach knots when I walk into Harvest Value. Pritchard's name shows up on every roster, even though the system has been restarted. No glitch can produce his name when the system's offline. Tom and I document it all. The stockroom gives us more trouble. Cases of pasta disappear overnight. We find them in Pritchard's locker, coated in a sticky, sweet-smelling mold, left untouched for hours, maybe days. Tom reacts first, says something supernatural. I just shake my head. One night I'm unloading spice racks when I hear dragging steps behind me, slow, deliberate, like someone pulling their limbs along the floor through aisle 7. I freeze, heart pounding. "Tom," I whisper into my radio. "You hear?" Static. I wait. Then footsteps stop. I finish shelving the bottles, but my hands are shaking. I go to check the locker. A can of beans cracked open under it. Greenish mold inside and around it. "Okay," Tom says when I tell him. "We're done." I move toward quitting, but he's too wrapped in documenting evidence. Not wholeheartedly, just investigating. We keep going, and every shift unravels me more. Until the final note. 2 weeks later, Tom unlocks the freezer to find a note taped to the inside wall in frozen red streaks. I can't describe how fresh it looks, as though squeezed from blood. It says, "You should have rotated the stock." Tom gasps. I can't move. It smells like iron mixed with bleach. On the floor is a can of beans, smashed flat and bloody. The freezer's hum buzzes louder than ever. Tom's face drains. He just backs away. That night, I walk out under humming lights for the last time. Tom quit after that. I drove away before dawn. A year later, I did a drive past Ridgeway Avenue. The sign was gone, boards over the windows. A makeshift fence ringed the lot. Through the cracks, I swear I saw a figure in a green vest shelving cans. The moonlight revealed a grin. The place was demolished in 2018. Construction workers who ripped out the foundation reported cold spots. Breaths of cold even in summer. One found a name tag, Pritchard, Nightstock, still sticky warm in his hand. Sometimes the thing you think you've left behind follows you home. Unresolved warnings don't vanish. They echo. If a place, person, or feeling doesn't belong in your life, trust that instinct. Courage isn't staying when your gut whispers, "Leave." Real strength lies in recognizing when the night has gone on too long. Before this job, I was a 10th grade literature teacher. I used to tell kids to look for metaphor, irony, character arcs. Now I mop aisles and restock off-brand peanut butter while listening to pipes groan through the ceiling. Life doesn't do arcs, it just shifts under you. Budget cuts hit the district last summer. They didn't say, "We're letting you go," just didn't renew my contract. My wife, now ex I guess, left a month later. Took our daughter and half the furniture. Divorce papers are still sitting on my kitchen table under a water bill I haven't opened. So yeah, Greenway Grocery became my new classroom. The only 24-hour market in Blackwater, Georgia. The kind of place where fluorescent lights flicker and no one ever fixes the ice cream cooler. I work the graveyard shift, midnight to 8 a.m. It's lonely, but predictable. Most nights, that's all I need. February 14th started like that. Quiet, cold. I just finished stacking soup cans when I heard the truck. It pulled into the loading bay at 11:47 p.m. No call ahead, no schedule. Just that deep diesel growl and headlights cutting across the back wall. The guy who stepped out looked like he hadn't slept in years. Mid-50s, stained cap, gray beard, sweat beading on his forehead even though it was 40 degrees out. "You Ethan?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "You're early." "Well, late." He didn't laugh. Just tossed me the keys to the trailer and said, "Unload it." "No signature needed," I asked. "Where's your manifest?" "Not your problem." He lit a cigarette with trembling hands, got back in the cab and drove off. That was the first red flag. The second came when I opened the trailer. No produce, no cereal, no toilet paper. Just pallet after pallet of identical boxes. Plain cardboard. No logos. Just one word stamped in red block letters. Fragile. I lifted one. It was heavier than I expected. And warm. Not just left the factory, warm. Breathing warm. Like someone had just set it down. I should have called the manager. Should have locked the trailer. But I didn't. Instead, I rolled the first pallet inside and told myself it was just a weird shipment. You'd be surprised how much horror starts with someone trying to keep their job. By 2 a.m., the boxes were stacked in the back storage room. There were at least 60 of them, maybe more. All the same, perfectly square, still warm. I left a voicemail for the manager, Tom, told him about the weird shipment, asked if we should return it or call the supplier. I didn't expect an answer. Tom barely shows up during the day shift. But I had to try. Cover my ass. I wheeled the last pallet through the double doors when I heard it. A thump, like something moved inside. I stopped, listened. Nothing. Then another box shifted, just slightly, barely an inch. I stepped back. Okay, I muttered. Nope, not dealing with this right now. I closed the door to the back room and went to the front of the store. Stocked shelves, cleaned the soda machine, pretended everything was fine. But around 3:03 a.m., the store phone rang. We don't get calls at night. Maybe once a week someone forgets we're 24 hours and calls to ask if we're open. But this time, it was different. I picked up. Static. Then a voice. Small. Could have been a kid. Could have been a recording. Did you check the boxes yet? Click. I hung up. Stared at the phone for a long second. Then unplugged it. Backroom stayed locked the rest of my shift. When Tom finally rolled in around 7:45, I told him everything. The truck, the boxes, the call. He stared at the backroom door like it owed him money, then said flatly, "Don't open them." That was it. "Wait, what are they?" "I don't know," he said. "They show up sometimes, just leave them alone, they'll be gone soon." Then he walked out, didn't clock in. The next day he quit. Texted corporate and vanished. No forwarding address. No goodbye. The boxes stayed. I started hearing footsteps the following week. Not just creaks or shelf pops. Footsteps. Software measured. Pacing the freezer aisle. Every time I checked the security feed, it showed nothing. But the motion sensor lights would trigger, cameras would flicker, and once I saw one of the boxes shift. Just an inch. Like someone brushing past. I stopped going back there unless I had to. I'd toss out 2 or 3 boxes during every shift. Load them into the compactor and hit the switch. I'd even watch them crush. But the next night, they'd be back. Stacked neatly, same number. No dents. Still warm. I asked Luis, the assistant manager, if he noticed anything. He just shook his head. "I don't touch those. You shouldn't either." "What are they?" He didn't answer, just patted my shoulder and walked off. I went home after that shift and found a package on my doorstep. No return address. Just a plain cardboard box. Fragile. I didn't touch it. Left it outside until morning. When I finally opened my door, it was gone. It got worse. The calls came every night. Always 3:03 a.m. Always the same voice. "Did you check the boxes yet?" I stopped answering. I stopped sleeping. One night, I snapped. I wheeled one of the boxes out into the parking lot around 5 a.m., set it down under the street lamp. I opened it. Inside, nothing. Just empty cardboard. I laughed. Genuinely laughed for the first time in months. Then I set it on fire. Blue flames. Not orange. Blue. And from inside, something screamed. Not an animal. Not a person. Just wrong. I ran inside. Locked the doors. Waited for sunrise. The ashes were gone by morning. That afternoon, I found a smaller box in the break room. Plain, square, written in Sharpie on top, Maddie, my daughter's name. I quit that night. Didn't leave a note. Didn't say goodbye, just walked out, keys in the register. 3 days later, Greenway Grocery shut down. Health department listed mold concerns, but people in Blackwater know better. Some say it was rats. Others say someone found a body in the walk-in cooler. But I know what they found. Boxes. Dozens of them, stocked on every shelf. And when the new owners opened one, they said it was empty. But they heard something breathing inside. Sometimes what breaks you isn't loud or violent. It's quiet, repetitive, mundane. It's a job you can't leave. A system that doesn't care. A question that never stops being asked. Did you check the boxes yet? The real horror. Living your life afraid to find out. You ever stand in the middle of a grocery store at 3 a.m. and suddenly feel like you're the only living thing in a dead mall? I have. That's every night for me now. My name's Marcus Webb, 29, Modesto born and bred. Used to work almond harvests with my uncle until a JD tractor tipped while I was refueling it. Crushed my right hand. 2 surgeries later, I lost half my grip and all my farm work. Now I pull minimum wage stocking shelves at Valley Fresh Market, out by the old strip mall near the highway. Only job that hired me without blinking at the metal pins in my hand. The graveyard shift's quiet. Mostly. Nothing but the buzz of the lights, the whine of the refrigeration units, and that occasional pop from a faulty floor tile and frozen foods. After a while, you learn to tune it out. February 14th, 2024 was supposed to be like any other. Valentine's Day. Though no one really celebrates in Blacktop County unless you count drinking alone or screaming at the TV. I clocked in at 11:07, took my cart to dairy, and started rotating milk. That's when I saw it. A smear, red, on the side of a gallon of 2%. I checked the jug above it. Same thing. Looked like blood, but dark, not fresh. I sniffed. No iron smell. Maybe a fruit drink spill, I thought, or someone being careless. I wiped it off with a paper towel. Kept stocking. But the cooler felt off. Normally it's cold back there, but that night, the air had this weird stillness. Like the AC was running, but the cold wasn't moving. And there was this hum. Low, constant, not mechanical, not quite human either. I didn't say anything. You don't say ghost noise to a manager while fighting workers' comp. You just keep moving boxes and try to look reliable. Still, I glanced down the aisle more than once. Nothing there. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling something was just around, just waiting. I moved on to aisle 3, canned vegetables. Always hated this aisle. Bad lighting. One of the overhead fluorescents flickers like it's trying to blink in Morse code. I was restocking green beans when I heard it. She should have stayed away. Software A woman's whisper. So close I actually flinched and turned, expecting someone behind me. No one there, no radio on, no customers. Just rows of Del Monte and store-brand corn staring back at me. I laughed, nervous-like. Okay, cool, I muttered to myself. You're losing it, Marcus. I went to the meat counter to catch my breath. That's when I heard the second voice, low, raspy, male. Should have finished the job. This time it sounded pissed. It came from the butcher door. I froze, waited. Silence. I slowly backed toward the deli counter, then the lights went out. Not flickered, out. Whole place blacked out except for the red glow of the exit signs and the pale blue emergency bulbs humming to life. That hum was back too, closer, deeper. In the dark, my eyes adjusted just enough to see the canned peaches. All of them, toppled. Every single can knocked off the shelves. Dozens on the floor rolling in slow circles. I used to follow the Tracy murder case. Cassie Richardson, 17 volleyball captain killed on Valentine's 5 years back. They found her body outside a hardware store off Brigg Road. Only thing next to her was a can of peaches. Everyone said it was her boyfriend Tyler Brooks. Cops never proved it. Town tore itself apart over it. And now here I was, in a blackout, staring at canned peaches scattered across linoleum. I turned to run. And that's when I saw them. 3 shopping carts, arranged in a perfect triangle in the back hallway. No one uses that space. It's where the delivery guys leave boxes. The carts weren't there before, I was sure of it. That's when I left. Didn't clock out, didn't clean up, just ran straight to my car and called 911 from the parking lot. When the cops showed up, I was shaking so bad I couldn't hold my phone straight. 2 cruisers, lights off. One officer, Cortez I think, recognized me from high school. Asked what happened. I told them. The voices, the power outage, the carts, the peaches. They looked at me like I'd been drinking, but they checked the building anyway. They came out 10 minutes later. Store's clean, Webb. Fully powered. Lights are on. No mess in the aisles. No carts out of place. You sure you didn't doze off or something? I know what I saw, I said. Check the cameras. So they did. And the footage? Showed me, alone, stalking, never reacting, No power cut, no carts moved, nothing. They didn't say it, but I could feel it. Maybe he's not all there. Manager came in, pissed off from being woken up. Didn't believe me either, but when we went inside, his face changed. Right there, in the dairy cooler, a volleyball, white and blue, just sitting between two crates of yogurt like it belonged there. He didn't say a word, but I saw his hands shake as he shoved it in a trash bag. Then he found the register receipts. Every single one printed at 3:17 a.m. that morning read, "In memory of Cassie." We don't print messages. We don't even have that function. He told me to take the rest of the week off, but I knew I wouldn't be coming back. I tried to get transferred to produce, or anywhere but aisle 3. Manager kept promising, "We'll sort the schedule." But every roster, same aisle, same hours. The regulars started getting weird too. There was this woman, mid-30s, short hair, gray hoodie, started showing up around 2:45 every night. Never said a word, just bought canned peaches and walked out. I swear she looked like Natalie Chen, Cassie's best friend. Moved away after the funeral, but the resemblance was eerie. Same eyes, same quiet. One night I followed her out. Just to see. She was gone. Just gone. No car. No footsteps. I ran to the lot. Nothing but the hum of the highway and one loose cart rolling across the asphalt. A week later, I found a volleyball in my locker. Not a joke. No name on it. No tag. Just sitting there. Waiting. Then the card showed up. Folded into my apron pocket. Plain red envelope. Valentine's Day again. Inside. Should have stayed in the fields, Webb. Written in what looked like dried blood. That's when I quit. No notice. No speech. I just walked out. Valley Fresh Market closed 6 months after I left. Store manager never returned my calls. Demolition started late summer. Then I heard from an old co-worker, Luis. He texted me. They found 3 nooses in the back room. Power's off, but the alarms still go off at 3:17 every night. I didn't reply. The news said the building was unsafe. Moldavian faulty wiring. Usual cover stories. Dollar Tree took over the space. New paint. New lights. But they keep having issues with their peach inventory. Every case goes missing within 48 hours. And late at night, the closing shift always swears they see someone pacing aisle 3, wearing white, holding a volleyball. You don't always get to leave the past behind, especially in places built on silence. Because some people don't rest when they're forgotten, and grief, like old milk or broken bodies, doesn't spoil, it waits.